Okay, I'm here to discuss my professional development plan with my mentor, Miss O'Hearn. First of all, I'll discuss some of the good PD programs that I've been to in the past. Uh, I've been I've IB Level 3 Concept-Based Learning. I've been to IB Level 3 Inclusion. And my favorite was when I was in Germany. I went to Dylan Williams Formative Assessment, which I probably learned the most because that's what I've been getting the highest grades on in my lessons that I've been given is being able to question the kids for the with formative assessment all throughout the lesson. And actually, I find again that it excites them when they get it right. When you ask them, hey, who got thumbs up? Give me a thumbs up. And everybody's like, So I think it keeps a level of excitement in the class. Things I would like to do better in my own class, I would have. I'd like to have some kind of recognition for good behavior based on the positive behavior intervention system, where we base like we'll take the school the the core values and see who's actually living up to the core values, give them recognition, make the kids want to do things better because that's what they need. They need to be recognized. Um, what else have I got here? Yeah, I'd like to incorporate the understanding by design objectives. I'd like kids to know at the beginning of the unit exactly where they're going and how I'm going to take them there to these learning objectives, step by step. So there's no surprises for them. A lot of times, in the past, I've seen we just start teaching and they really don't know what it is they're learning. So that's one of the things that I would like to do. And I'll be able to judge my success when I have a good classroom climate. There's engagement. The kids are engaged, but they're engaged then they're talking about the subject that we're teaching. Okay, they're not off on another, as best as can be expected for a primary school job, if that's where I'm at.
Right.
And in order to be success in the academic realm, I'll judge using formative and summative assessments to track student learning. And they're asking me what methods I would use. I'll use data to drive instruction. I'll see exactly where everybody's at, and that'll show me what I need to teach. And keep the records of student behavior as well as behavioral successes. I would definitely like to Fontes and Pinnell. I've only done it a few times, and that takes a little bit of practice to get that in. And also being able to evaluate the information of the MAPS tests. I've had a little bit of experience in it, but I don't know. You've done that. Does that take time to be able to, to give like the Fontes and Pinnell, where you?
Now that that's been the one that I've used at most of the other schools, so I found that one really fast once you get used to it. So
Okay.
much faster than DRA because they don't have to write and you don't have to read all that writing. You can talk and have a conversation, and it's actually another formative assessment in a lot of ways.
Okay, I remember one I did in Copenhagen. They were reading, and I was having to mark down as they read, like the words that they weren't pronouncing properly, this and that.
That sounds similar.
Okay, but I always found like it was a little bit difficult for me to be able to write down those little different symbols that we had to write.
I think that just gets easier the more you do it.
Okay, but it's still
nature.
like that then. So, okay.
Was that Fontes and Pinnell?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, it must have been.
It might have been an old.
Like it.
Yeah, okay. That was a few years back.
I mean, it can be a little bit tedious, but when you compare it to DRA, which takes forever because the kids have to go write.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to grade all that. To me, this is better because you get to have real conversations with the kids about reading, and they actually like it. Like they're begging to come do it with you because they just want to sit down and chat with their teacher.
Oh,
That's what it feels like to them, right? It's just a one-on-one conversation.
That always works, huh?
So.
And they're asking me about how I implement. I'm talking about I'm going to learn the school supplied data keeping system, whatever that is. I've never actually stood with you and seen how you keep your records.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to do that.
And collaboration, working with the people who have been doing it a while, because I believe that teaching is definitely something. If you're a good teacher, even the more experience you have, the more you know. Of course, in the past, I've known guys that have been doing construction for 30 years, and they still don't know how to square up a wall.
Yeah,
but
some people don't get any better.
But I guess you know when a teacher's good, and I usually judge it by the relationship they have with their kids. So another couple of my goals. I want to keep studying higher level math. I'd eventually like to be teaching math in like the middle school, like Algebra 1, Algebra 2. But that's a goal for a little ways down the road. My goal now is just to get this credential and get a job.
Yeah. And you'll be credentialed in K-6?
That'll be the first one, and then I'll definitely, just right after I get that, I'll go and take the special ed, the K-12 SPED credential.
That's great.
Since that's eventually, that's what I've been into so far. I've been working with the special needs kids. And I don't know. That's about it. Do you have any suggestions on?
Oh, I think in terms of professional development, I mean, a lot of people think that's when you have to go to a place to do professional development, go to see a speaker or go to a weekend. But the other part of that is like what we talked about. There's so much to read out there, and getting these feeds just on something like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and reading about best practices. I mean, that is just coming like at lightning speed all the time, and you can be reading about what other classrooms are doing. And to me, you can learn just as much from that as you can going to some of these professional developments that are more structured. So I really like to use something like Edutopia that has all the best practices, all the teachers trying new things, all the new ideas that are going on in classrooms, across the U.S., especially since it's a U.S. website. And there's a lot of stuff that I've just seen online that I just try in my classroom later.
Oh, I see.
So It's really fun to experiment with that.
And you've come from like a transdisciplinary background, is that right?
Right.
And are you able to incorporate any of this into this type of structure that we have here, which is kind of a more...
Right now it's really hard because they haven't decided to make any changes with scheduling in terms of opening up the schedule to not have to do one class, then one class, then one class. It's got to be a more open-ended schedule, and we have to have more collaborative planning time with everyone to create these units. So right now, that's kind of at a standstill here. And we have moved some things around. We've plugged in social studies into the reading and writing units.
Okay, yeah, I've noticed that.
But in terms of it really being transdisciplinary, I mean, we have a long way to go with that here. Now,
if you were to be able to make an educated guess at how do kids, do they assess better? Are there like their summative assessments? Do they do better on them when they're in a transdisciplinary system rather than what we have here? Do you think, or what do you consider as the big advantage?
What I think is the big advantage is that, for one thing, like they never ask you what they're learning. They know because they see it all day. Like you might pop into math right now and they have forgotten what they did a couple of days before because they see it and it's taken away like a day later.
Okay.
When they weave in all of the subjects together, they have either this one overarching question or theme or something that they know they're completely immersed in it, and there's no question what they're learning about.
So you never get the old, when will I ever use this in my life question that we get in math all the time.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be tricky here with everyday math, too, because that is the most challenging subject to plug into the transdisciplinary.
Okay, yeah.
Because it does build, and you have to make sure you don't leave something out with math. But I have seen a lot of great ideas with schools, like PYP schools, that they continue the standalone math, but they also are using it within the big units of inquiry. So it can be done, but you have to really have a flexible schedule.
Okay.
That's kind of the starting point that we'd have to have here, and we don't have that.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add this week? And we're almost wrapping this up.
I know. I can't
one more
believe
class.
It's really flying by.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's been great for the students and for me, and it's been great to have new energy in here and new ideas with math, especially with math, that I feel like has improved my classroom and my teaching as well.
Great. Well, it's been fun. So, anyway, thank you, Erica, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.